Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today we're getting ready to get down and fight for freedom. Um, we'll be right back right after this. Hi, and welcome back. I hope you all had a great weekend. We were all hopefully awaiting, had the chaos Friday. We all got through that, and we're hoping for some great news today. I guess this really is the constitutional education of America. Just when we think, do all the things, follow the rules, um, you know, write to your congressperson. Boy, we all saw them get sworn in, right? Did you guys see? They raised their hand to an oath. No Bible anywhere. I don't know what oath they were keeping. Oh, we found out today. You know what? It doesn't matter if they take an oath because they're not held to it. They have what's called, let's look it up, sovereign immunity. E-I or I-E? I'm a terrible speller. Hold on one second. Let's see what sovereign immunity says. So apparently we've all been waiting patiently for and lawfully and peacefully for the Brunson Adams case to be heard. I wrote a letter. My husband wrote a letter asking to be for the Supreme Court to hear this. And I guess they came back with their decision. They waited very wisely, waited over the weekend to make sure that people would be peaceful and not use that time. So we'd be, go to work on Monday and be good little slaves. And we'd be too busy trying to take care of our families and all those things, playing by the rules. So, but they don't have to play by the rules. So Congress went in and the issue with Brunson and Adams, the Supreme Court said there's no point in them even looking at it because Congress is protected by what's called sovereign immunity. So let's find out what sovereign immunity is. What is meant by sovereign immunity? Sovereign immunity refers to the fact that government cannot be sued without its consent. Okay, well, so wait a minute. There's still hope. Sovereign immunity or crown immunity is legal doctrine whereby a sovereign or state cannot commit a legal wrong and is immune from a civil suit or criminal prosecution. Strictly speaking, in modern text, it's its own courts. In its own courts. In its own courts. So in other courts, it could be held accountable. I'm always looking for the yes. A similar stronger rule regards foreign courts is named state immunity. So there are three types of sovereign immunity. Sovereign immunity takes two forms. One, immunity from suit, also known as immunity from jurisdiction or adjudication, and two, immunity from enforcement. The former prevents the assertion of the claim. The latter prevents a successful litigation from collecting a judgment. A king can do no wrong, it says. I thought we didn't live with kings. Who qualifies for sovereign immunity? In the United States, the federal government has sovereign immunity and may not be sued unless it has waived its immunity or consent to be sued. The United States, as a sovereign, is immune from suit unless unequivocally consents to be sued. What is an example of sovereign immunity? Blah, 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 a little bit more of the same. Oh, look, all who has sovereign immunity. The IRS, the FDA. Who is the sovereign of the United States? Sovereignty is a simple idea. The United States is an independent nation governed by the American people that controls its own affairs. The American people adopt the Constitution and created the government. They elect their, well, it used to be that way. I wonder if there's a list of who all sovereign, because I know that's state sovereign immunity. I think that's different. Cannot be construed to extend to any suit in law and tort. Maybe the Native American powers would help. Where is sovereign immunity in the Constitution? The 11th Amendment. Judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. I know this is the thing that like police use and the FBI apparently. I'm trying to see. Jim Willie sent me a whole list. The IRS, the Treasurer, FEMA, FBI, NATO. So, but you know who has their own courts that would be outside of these courts, and that's the military. So I think that we're back to the military is the only way. Unfortunately, I mean, I was really holding out for our court system and believing in that. And I still believe in lawful, peaceful ways of doing this. It just may come another way. Very interesting. So let's see what else is going on, because there's been a ton of stuff over the weekend. There's tons and tons of news that we were sharing. Let's see, share this tab instead. Oh, there's baby Mia after her heart transplant. I posted that because I noticed that the hospital that we picked her up from when we first were fostering has a new mascot, and it's a bee, and that's our family mascot is a bee with mom and my daughter and the girls and stuff. And so I thought that was sweet that the honeybee, just a cool little synchronicity in life. So a little positivity there. The demon rats are trying to extradite Bolsonaro from Florida after the Capitol attack in Brazil, which is just completely insane to me. I thought this was, America's where people went to be safe, and they welcomed migrants. But, Litecoin prices are doing great. They say despite the collapse of FTX. Well, there wasn't any Litecoin in FTX, so that's probably why. It has nothing to do with it. There's a lot of these kind of stories that are great, knowing some of that stuff's getting broken. Lady Di. We have a new state superintendent of schools, Ryan Walters. I was excited to see this. That's a good guy and a good thing for Oklahoma. Lots of good things happening in Oklahoma. This was a great video that Ray Dalio did, and he's talking about gold, Bitcoin, fiat, land, and where we are right now in this cycle of our economy. And so this week, the Fed's coming out with new CPI numbers, and everybody's kind of guessing and saying what if and whatever. And he's talking about like Bitcoin's great, except it doesn't have privacy. And it could be, what was the other thing? The privacy. Mostly the privacy. So Litecoin has the privacy option. So I said something about, sounds like Ray thinks Litecoin's better than gold, fiat, or Bitcoin. Privacy, scarcity, security. So that's a great video. Yeah, more sick people around. Let's see. We all know about that stuff. This was epic. So apparently Abbott greeted Biden. Biden gave them, I think, less than 24 hours notice that they would be coming to the border, and then sent some people down there and cleaned up El Paso in like 24 to 48 hours, so that when all the media came to take photo ops, there wouldn't be all the, migrants and trash and cartel and all that. And Abbott agreed to meet him down there and handed him a letter, which was like a list of demands, but it's literally just all the stuff that he's legally obligated to do, but that he undid when Trump left. So just insane. Some more documents appearing about more censorship stuff against Tucker. We won't talk about that stuff. Here's like, this is somebody else sold their soul. I've put Pinocchio on here. This was interesting. More central bank of Turkey successfully testing payment transactions using the digital lira. Remember in Uncle Cliff's timeline, we're also seeing, which I'll scroll through and probably find the stories about it, that the China-Taiwan thing has to happen. So we're kind of hearing the winding down of or the changing of the story or the narrative around the Ukraine and Russia, and we're hearing the gearing up of Taiwan and China. And that Uncle Cliff said we would hear that before the big collapse. So that we're starting to hear that kind of stuff. And at the same time, these different currency tryouts, those seems like cheerleading tryouts or something, are happening kind of all over the world. So all these central banks and different tests are happening all over the world. Thought that was a cute one. Better wages. I can't show you that because I got in trouble for showing that video on the YouTubes. Thought this was a cool, powerful picture and statement. Oh, yeah, here's McCain encouraging people in Ukraine.
The free world is with you. America is with you. I am with you. And the destiny you seek lies in Europe. The free world is with you.
He's telling people in Ukraine that their destiny's in Europe. It's weird. Happy birthday to Rice. 5 years. Hanging in there, speaking truth and trying to help educate people and give people resources. Pretty awesome. Proud to know you, my friend. I'm proud of my grandfathers. Let's see. Here's a picture from our meetup, and I believe this was in Illinois. I think this is in Illinois. So with the McCarthy thing, I think you guys know about all this, but basically, yes, he got in after the 15th round, but his powers are so minimal. Let's see if it'll show if this one has the list or if I have to go to the next article. But basically let's see if it says all the things listed in it. Here we go. Single member vote to oust the speaker. That's all it takes. Votes on lawmaker term limits and border security. Freedom Caucus member on Rules Committee. Pro-McCarthy PAC stays out of safe primary races. Select Committee on Weaponization of the DOJ. That's huge. So under the DOJ is a lot of other entities, just so you know. That's not just the DOJ. If you Google like a formation of the government or whatever, it's like this little spreadsheet thing, and you'll see what all entities are then listed under the DOJ. And so that could include all of those entities as well. 72 hours at least to read a bill before going to the floor. None of this, thing where they pack stuff in and turn it over the next night. And reveal the salaries of government officials. So a lot of things got through, and that's why they kept pushing back. And I think this first thing is probably one of the strongest one. So he's raising his hand talking about, we're going to get rid of, 97 or 87,000 IRS agents, which I read a thing just a couple minutes ago that actually the IRS's employment or people have in 2018 had decreased over 25%. So be careful what you're hearing and what's actually happening. Not always the same thing. So this is really, really good information. And remember that the House holds the purse strings also. I lose my place again. Let's see. There was a lot of other stuff that I shared with. Arrest warrant was issued for President Trump over the death of Soleimani, which I think is completely insane. There was a tsunami warning after a 7.2 magnitude hit off the Pacific island nation of, I can't remember what it's called. It's like, maybe I can find it pretty good. Vanuatu. So you might see some of that. The term limits for lawmakers. Yeah, that's huge. McAfee tapes. I hope we see those soon. This was awful. But, the Bidens used a gingerbread theme, gingerbread house for their Christmas theme. And you know who lives in a gingerbread house in the story. This was interesting. So in the Brazil situation, they have a shaman too. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the night before, so that happened, on Sunday? Was that Saturday or Sunday? I'm not sure. My days kind of go together on the weekend, especially. They Bolsonaro came up and was visiting with Trump. And then this happens. It makes you wonder if he's being kept safe. I'm sure he's being kept safe, but this was really strange to me, and we had a similar case, well, a weird race case that I saw in the news here just in my local town. So this one says a federal rights lawsuit against Arkansas outgoing Ace Hutchinson. So this is the outgoing governor. There's a lawsuit against him, which I don't know why it'd be against him necessarily, but it says that there's a state law against people of color running for state officer, I guess, which is insane. And nowadays, you would think, but it's just where they have those old laws on the books that have just never been taken off, And so that, but I guess it says he was enforcing it, which I'm not sure the details of that. But there, here in my town, I saw a similar article, not with anything to do with voting, but it was a article where a man owned a piece of property and they were telling him in his neighborhood that he couldn't, because of his color, he couldn't buy that piece of property. And he couldn't live in this certain area and whatever. And it was like insane. It was like somewhere, in the middle of town by the railroad track where the businesses are and whatever. And like that it would be anywhere. It was just completely insane to me. So those kind of things need to be changed. I don't even know why that's happening. Apparently the IRS investigated some of their own employees who were, and I'm seeing more and more of these cases where, I guess, what's that PPP money? Some people knew the tricks around it or something and got like more than what they were supposed to and then used it improperly. And so that's a problem. Bank of America is in big trouble. Well, so we saw it. Wells Fargo, which I have that story next, but Bank of America tells a customer to file a claim. So they come in, this customer comes in and says, hey, my account was drafted for $30,000. And Bank of America tells them their response is to go file a claim about it. I'm sorry, but that's not how you handle that. Like, I don't even know what they're going to do with that. But similar mistreatments of customers cost Wells Fargo $3.7 billion. And they could be shut down. So this still is not over yet. They're in its fifth lawsuit in 6 years, and they could still be shut down. So I would be careful about where you keep your wealth. But we tell you that all the time. American Airlines is dropping 3 cities due to a pilot shortage. So ridiculous. Oh, here's where they started Tuesday, Wednesday, started moving through and cleaning up the city, knowing Biden was coming. So they started, I guess it didn't take that long to clean it up when they wanted to, They start cleaning up the migrants who had entered illegally. Crazy what they've done to El Paso. These are some of the Brazil. Let's see. Sri Lanka's lenders should cancel debt, is what the bondholders are not living up to their obligations and should cancel the debt to get the country out of the economic crisis, is what a group of international academics are saying. So you're seeing a lot of those kind of narratives flying around. This is funny. Let's see. And we probably won't talk about that or we'll get in trouble. The first president gave his first State of the Union. More stuff on. This was a threat of the CCP. We've always been firmly opposed to the U.S. arms sales to Taiwan. China urges the United States to abide by the One China principle and the provisions of the three China-U.S. joint communiques. I don't know what that is. Earnestly act on the promises made by the U.S. leadership and not support Taiwan independence, stop arms sales to the Taiwan Strait. China will take forceful measures and firmly safeguard something. That went really fast. So I don't know what China 1 is, but if that's like America first and putting China first, I'm not for that. But basically that's them threatening us. Facebook admits in court that it's just an opinion. Let's see. There was some cool stuff here about gold. This woman got super mad because the bank teller took her paycheck and then kept it for overdraft fees. So the lady went in there and took her paycheck back. And that's the kind of stuff that Wells Fargo was getting in trouble for, was like all these, they were opening bank accounts. They were having these exorbitant overdraft fees. They were having high rates on people and stuff like that. And that's what they got dinged for. That is who said yes. That is a GOP senator that said yes. Oh, I was telling Nino to check that out to see if they really cleaned that up. A U.S. trustee filed an objection. Okay, so they were getting ready to release the names of who the asset sales were to in the FTX, and a trustee filed an objection because they didn't want to be disclosed in that, which I think we all should know. This is huge. Argentina and China formalize a currency swap. Let me see if I can open this up. So Buenos Aires, let's see. Argentina and China have formalized the expansion of currency swap deal, allowing South American country to increase its depleted foreign currency reserves. Argentina central bank said on Sunday. Argentina's government needs to rebuild reserves and cover trade loss costs and future debt repayments. And more reserves are a key objective of a major debt deal with the IMF. Okay, so the heads of Argentina and Chinese central banks confirmed that the deal for the swap of currencies between both institutions had been activated and committed the deepening of the Chinese use of the Chinese yuan in the Argentine markets of the central bank. China is Argentina's second biggest trade partner after Brazil, and the second most important for destination for Argentina exports. Let's see. The swap compromises the exchange of currency for reinforcement of international reserves of 130 billion yuan and a special activation of 35 billion yuan to compensate operations on the foreign exchange market. So that's pretty significant. Go back to here. There was a really cool gold thing that I wanted to share. Maybe I already shared it with you guys. I don't remember. This is a Navy vet in St. Pete's, and I know we did a meetup in St. Pete's. So if you are any of our friends or people in St. Petersburg and you can help Coda Vets, this is a Navy veteran, Albert. He's been homeless in his car for over 4 months now and just needs some help with security deposits and utilities to get into a apartment. He has a HUD and VASH voucher. So he needs a little help. If you're able to help through Coda Vets in St. Petersburg, Florida. We won't talk about that. Oh, Bukle saying that. So I think I translated this one. This was something about their death rate is down, their murder rate is down. It's cleaning up. You know, they always say Bitcoin fix the money, you fix the problem. And you're really seeing that in Venezuela for sure. Or El Salvador, I'm sorry. So I think we all know about the Babbitt thing, El Paso. Federal judge dismisses Trump's lawsuit against Six as moot, which I think that's bullshit. I don't know where that other stuff was that I was going to share. Oh, I know where it was. Hold on. God, it wears me out. It's on my husband's thing, but he doesn't. Yeah, people have to use like underscores and all this stuff, and then you can't find them. Okay. 200 trillion. Very short leash. We know that. We know that. Did you bite? Happy birthday.
Launch of Digibite. That means that blockchain's been running nonstop for 9 years as of tomorrow. 9 years running nonstop. Pretty important for a proof of work coin. Good luck doing that now. A proof of work coin right now, if you launch it, that's tough. You know, to get it decentralized to where you've got not one group mining more than 50% and controlling the network. It's a rough thing to do right now. So kudos. Shout out to Digibite. Shout out to Jared Tate for inventing it. And right now, just a little stats on Digibite. There are 21 billion coins. So the idea, I think, was to make it more liquid than Bitcoin, have more coins available. And then there's 5 different mining algorithms to where instead of one mining algorithm, SHA-256 for Bitcoin or one for Litecoin script, now there's 5 different ones. So the thinking in that is it helps decentralize it, because if one group of people has kind of a monopoly on the type of equipment that mines that particular language, they can use that in full force and kind of control the network, and that's not good. So by having 5 different algorithms, you can mine it 5 different ways. Helps decentralize it. It's hard to really take that over and gain over 50% of the mining power. So that's kind of important. It's due to mine out completely all those coins. I have 2035. Right now, there's almost 16 billion that have been mined out. So only 5 billion left. So in our lifetimes, if we make it, we will see a proof of work coin stop mining. Big shout out to Digibite, one of my favorite coins, probably I would say my number 2 behind Litecoin. I drive a Digibug, which is a blue Volkswagen Beetle, and I've dubbed it the Digibug. So anyway.
Okay, so, and shout out to Clint Westwood. Well done. That was just funny. Johnny has something to say.
All right, happy Monday, you guys. We got Litecoin moving back up in price, and everyone's like, "Oh, Litecoin, it's doing so good right now." Litecoin's doing good, but Litecoin's doing good right now because it was so suppressed in price during this last bull market. You got to get that through your heads. That Litecoin was artificially manipulated downwards. We saw clowns like Novogratz going on CNBC and saying, "Take Litecoin up the screen, put on Terra Luna, put on Solana." There was major efforts to suppress the price of Litecoin. They wanted to pump crap during that time. If Litecoin went way up in price during that time, Litecoin's real. It's a real coin with real utility. They don't want that. They wanted to pump meme coins and crap that was going to blow up in everyone's face. Litecoin did good. Wasn't going to blow up in anyone's face. It's real. No, there's no organization that's holding on to a ton of it. People give Charlie crap because during the 2017 bull run, he sold his coins. But he made the coin more decentralized. You don't want one guy, not that he had a lot of coins, but you don't want one guy that seems like they're in charge. That's not what you want for a decentralized crypto. So, again, get this through your heads. It's not that Litecoin's doing that good right now. It's just that it's catching up to where it should be, right? Obviously, Litecoin should be in the top 10. We know that. It always was in the top 10. It wasn't until they pumped crap that it moved out of the top 10. Expect more bullishness. Definitely expect more bullishness. We have the Litecoin halving coming up in a few. I think it's coming up in August of this year. So we expect a lot of bullishness till then. Hash rates going through the roof. We got more companies and software integrating Litecoin. Soon we're going to have mobile apps integrating MWeb. That's going to be really big because that's going to bring MWeb to the masses. So it's going to be exciting year for Litecoin, guys. So just remember, when people say, oh, Litecoin's doing so good, just catch up to where it should be. Peace, you guys.
And Johnny is right on. So remember, MWeb is the privacy layer of Litecoin. So it's runs parallel. So it's like paying with cash versus using a credit card or check, if you want to think of it that way. This was what we opened this story with, or opened the video with. That's another one, I guess. I'm always a little worried to scroll through my husband's screen because I don't know what he's going to say. I don't always agree with everything he has on there. This is interesting. Leader's got some information here. No surprise with any of that, I'm sure. Ready, go check that out. I wonder if I can play that without getting...
Well, the deep state mafia just scored some major victories over the past 24 hours. In the first instance, the Bill Clinton-appointed federal judge in the Southern District of New York, Lewis Kaplan, ruled to keep secret the two entities that funded Sam Bankman-Fried's $250 million bail. SBF got to spend the holiday at his parents' home in California, but the judge is hiding the names of those who are paying SBF's bond. So score one for the deep state mafia. Maybe it was Bill Clinton himself or the Clinton Foundation who put up the money. We'll never know about it. And the second story involves the Attorney General of the Virgin Islands, top prosecutor who reached a more than $105 million settlement with Jeffrey Epstein's estate, lost her job just days after suing J.P. Morgan Chase in connection with her probe. She accused J.P. Morgan of facilitating and concealing Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking network, and she was
and then Quid Pro Joe went down to the Virgin Islands and she got fired.
Excellent journalist Whitney Webb, the author of the two-part book One Nation Under Blackmail,
this is like 15 minutes long,
between intelligence and crime that gave rise to Jeffrey Epstein. Whitney, Happy New Year to you. Welcome back to the show.
But I love Whitney Webb.
So let's start with the Epstein story. I mean, this is a pretty, to me, struck me as pretty odd. Just a few days after this Virginia.
All right, you guys, I'll post that on my Patreon, and you can go watch it there.
Well, the deep state mafia just scored some major victories over the past 24 hours. In the first instance, the Bill Clinton-appointed federal judge in the Southern District.
And make sure we see anything else we need to hit before we go. You had to be careful on his. Oh, Mike Rogers is stepping down from the House Steering Committee. So he's the guy. I don't know if you guys saw the video where Kevin McCarthy walks back and like gets in Gates's face, and then this other guy comes around from one side and he like lunges at Gates, and somebody pulls him back like this and puts her hand over his mouth. So he's out of there. I think that's all there was the big thing with the gold that I sent to Jim. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. So Ghana dumps the dollar for gold. Let me stop sharing. Let me go back over here and see if I can share. I'll just read this to you guys. But Ghana dumps the dollar for gold. The Guyana government recently announced its plans to buy oil products with gold rather than the U.S. dollar. Ghana is now joining a growing group of countries that have taken direct action against the U.S. hegemony dollar. I guess that's it. I guess I just did those two. So more and more people turning away from the U.S. dollar. We're seeing it over and over. I think we have gone through all the lawful and legal ways of trying to figure things out. And it's my understanding that then that means we need a different kind of court. So the only other court that I know of is the military courts. So hopefully that's coming soon to a military court near you. We shall see. Thanks everybody for watching. I need to read through the comments and see if I don't know if there were any questions. Yes, complete idiocracy we live in. And just wanted to give everybody some news. Yes, I agree, JB. I'm with you, Jay. Oh, have some grace. I know we're all going through this together. Good to see you, Jenny, Vicky, Mom, Chris Card, JB, Tom. Texas for freedom. I love it. Yes, for sure. And Warrior 32. Good to see you, Benny. The other side of things, that is my friend Pimpy. Go watch the other side of things. He has a couple of channels, and he's giving you a lot of good information. Whether it is, he said, Pimpy posts funny things. He does. He posts some funny things. He posts some true things. He posts a lot of things about currency. I've been sending him a couple things that fall in line. He talks a lot about, on one of his channels, he talks a lot about Nasera. And I've sent him a couple things that he may have already seen, but there's some narrative out there falling around some of that. There's a guy named Kabbalah Guru that is very much in support of the idea of that. And he's really around that whole idea and seeing some of it. So anyway, you guys put your energy into positive things, make good choices, and protect yourself and your loved ones. And remember that by taking personal responsibility for our choices and our actions, we can have freedom. And you can have freedom every day when you choose it in your actions. So speak truth and be free and love one another. Take care.